just talk and let people, oops. Okay, I pushed the wrong button. I pushed go live and end it. So I don't know if it's going to go live or not.
It tells me here on my side that it is now streaming live.
Perfect. I see it now too. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So I'll introduce the show, then I'll introduce you, and then we'll get into your whole entire life.
All right.
From inception to today.
All in 15 minutes, is that right?
We can do this.
Yeah.
We'll talk fast. They can slow it down some way later. Facebook, I'm telling you, Comic Spot is on the spot for you today. I mean, Comic Spot was created so that this Army veteran can now vet out comedy veterans. And you have one before you right now. You have the amazing, famous touring comic who has plastered this country with his comedy. His views on Dry Bar Comedy are about 14 million.
14?
Aren't they? Are they more than that now?
150 million.
Oh my God, really? Oh my gosh, Brad, that's crazy. Why didn't I know that?
Don't you wrote it on my bio.
I did write it correctly. How many?
Who else was on the show today? You had Ross Bennett on, right?
Yeah.
He's at 14. You're mixing me up with Ross. I think that's what you're doing.
I don't know if I'm that mean to mix people up. I mix up numbers. I hate math. Yeah. So yours is at what? How many million?
150 million.
He is the top person on Dry Bar views ever, right? Woo! He is it. He is it. So let me read you the intro. On Instagram, you can find him at Brad Upton Comedy. On Facebook, it's Brad Upton fan page. Dry Bar Comedy's most popular comedian with, you're correct, over 150 million views. He's got more views than McDonald's has sold hamburgers at my local joint. Holy Toledo. Brad is a regular performer at the Grand Ole Opry and used to tour with the late, great Joan Rivers. He has spent the last 14 years dedicating his life to making people laugh and opening for the legendary Johnny Mathis. Welcome to the stage. Soon to be your friend, hopefully still going to be mine when I misquote the number of views on Dry Bar, Brad Upton.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oh God, are you kidding? You're the man. Everybody's got to be wanting to have a piece of you.
Well, not now. No one does. They did before March, and then all of a sudden, no more.
So I want to hear about you growing up. I know you did track. So did I. You're a Washington person. I'm Oregon, raised my daughter in Washington. I want to know about where you grew up, when you were first seen funny, when you got on stage. I want to hear it all.
I grew up in the Tri-Cities. I was born and raised in the Tri-Cities and went to Richland High School, graduated from Richland High School, and went to Spokane Community for 2 years, the University of Montana for a year, and then I transferred back to Eastern Washington, and that's where I graduated from. And I ran track at all three schools.
I ran track at Oregon College of Education from 1969 to 71. Was I too old for you? A little bit. Okay, cool. We're not going there. I'm 69 years old. I figured I'm older.
I'm 64.
Awesome. Yeah, I love track. What were your, you jumped the hurdles, right?
Yeah, ran the 110-meter highs and the 400-meter hurdles.
Wow.
Yeah. How about yourself? What events?
I'm very short and I'm all torso, no legs. So as a ground pounder, I ran the mile.
Oh, okay. You're short?
5'2", eyes of blue.
I would have guessed you to be tall from your pictures.
It's tricky, right? Yeah. Very trick photography. I had a mirror that made me look really tall.
Yeah, one of those funhouse mirrors.
Yeah, that's where I got my body dysmorphic disorder from those. So talk to me about what happened. When was the first time you started performing anything, and when did it go to comedy?
I started a little bit later because I was just chicken and I was teaching fourth grade in Pasco, so there was nowhere to go do comedy. I mean, I wanted to do it. I had a drive to do it. I was drawn to it. but there was nowhere to do it. So that was an easy way to put it off. And, you know, because, well, where am I going to do it? And so I waited and I waited. I didn't do my first open mic till I was 28 years old.
Wow.
Which is kind of late in the comedy business to start. And then, but it was the early 80s. So I quickly got some momentum. And after my very first open mic, then I quit teaching school, let's see, 84, 85, less than 2 years later. And in June of 86, I quit teaching fourth grade in Pasco. And then I've been doing comedy full time ever since.
Wow. So the Tri-Cities is Richland, Pasco, and Kennewick?
Correct.
Good.
And
I was with Washington Mutual from 82 to 87 and went out there doing corporate training.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to see if I still remembered that correctly. Yeah. So track, college, performing in the 80s. Do you remember the first time you got up on stage and how scared?
Oh, yeah.
And how did it go? How scared and how did it go?
No, I was terrified. And in fact, I went over exactly 1 year earlier. I signed up in September of 1983. I signed up for an open mic, and then it was my turn. It was almost my turn. There was 3 more spots before I went up, and I chickened out. And I got scared, and I told the MC, I'm not going up. He goes, well, what do you mean you're not going up? It's almost your turn. I went, no, I'm not going up. And I walked out of the club and drove home, and I hated myself for a year because I just got scared. I chickened out, and I came back exactly to the day a year later and signed up again because I thought, man, if you're going to do this, you better do it. I mean, you're not getting any younger. So I signed up, and back in the early 80s, the comedy open mics were packed. Yes. And the crowds were hot for an open mic. So I went up and I did my 5 minutes. It was mostly about teaching fourth grade. And I killed. And I got off stage, and no one was more, the elation I felt was phenomenal because all the jokes worked. And I finally did what I wanted to do, and it went very well. And then the late, great Laura Crocker came up to me afterwards, and she said, we thought you were wonderful. You were great. Really enjoyed that set, and we want you to be in the competition. And I said, what do you mean? The competition? I don't understand. And she said, you passed the audition. And I said, audition for what? I don't understand. Is this open mic? Because I'd never been on stage, right? I didn't know what it was. And she goes, yes, it is open mic, but it's also, tonight is also an audition for the Seattle stand-up comedy competition.
My gosh.
And she said, and you passed. We want you to be in the competition. And I said, oh, okay, that's great. So what do I do now? She said, this was the last night of the audition. I think they were trying to fill out the last couple of spots probably. And so they chose a couple of people from that night. And then she said, come back next Tuesday night. And then you're in the first week and you start the comedy competition. And so I came back the next week, and now I'm in with 19 other professionals, right? So, and it's only my second time on stage. Wow. And I did the exact same set, verbatim, word for word, that I'd done the previous week. And it didn't go as well as the first time. And I was like, what? I can't, what, you know, I didn't know what happened. But the audience could tell that previous night on the open mic, by comparison, I probably looked pretty good to everybody. But now I'm in with a bunch of professionals, and obviously I don't look as good. So it didn't go as well the second, third, fourth time I got on stage. But having that first good experience, I was hooked. Yes. And I was hooked at that point. I had to keep doing it.
Good night. So talk to me about your illustrious career. You've accomplished so much. I mean, you're a comedy legend.
Well, that's just from being around forever, I think. That's all it is. I've worked steadily since '86, and you know, before the COVID, I was doing about 6 or 8 cruise ships a year, and I was doing about 16 dates a year with Johnny Mathis, and I was doing a lot of corporate events, and just a handful of clubs and public. And then, you know, in 2018, those dry bar videos hit, and that dry bar video hit and went crazy.
Isn't that
and all of a sudden, after 34 years in comedy, all of a sudden people are like, oh, this guy's great. Oh, look at this guy. He's great. I go, well, I've been around forever. It was nice. It was very satisfying to have people discover me after all those years.
Yes.
People came, and all of a sudden that was very gratifying, because, you know, I'm at the end of my career now. And then all these young comedians are telling me, this is what you should do with all these views. This is what you should do to promote yourself. You should do this and this and this. I go, I'm 63 years old. There's no 10-year plan for me at this point. I'm almost done. So it's been very rewarding. Those dry bar videos, and all of a sudden, you know, I got a lot of corporate work out of those. People saw me on dry bar. They wanted me to come perform at their events. And then I have a lot of people, my fan page went from about 300 people to over 27,000. And they all want me to come tour and come to their towns and stuff. But I'm like, well, I've been to your town for the last 25 years. You just never came out and saw me. But I don't do that much public. I mean, it may change after the COVID. I don't know what's going to be available. But in the last several years, it was cruise ship, Johnny Mathis, and corporate events. So people didn't really see me in clubs or anything. I mean, they didn't come see me in any casinos or where you might see comics. I was working a lot, but just not publicly, I guess. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it. I started when I was 63.
Oh, okay.
So 6 years in now, and I just barely figured out my persona, just barely.
Right.
Takes a while, you know?
Sure does.
So then that answers where you're going to go with your career. You're going to hang loose and keep doing the things you've been doing, but not travel as much.
Well, yeah. And I think unfortunately, live entertainment's going to be the last thing to come back. So it's going to be a while. I think it's next week, the 21st of August. I'm doing a show at the Mill Casino in Coos Bay.
Oh.
And I'm excited. I haven't been on stage in so long. I want people to come. If they want to come out and see a comedian, try and remember his act, that'd be a good time to do it.
Mill Casino in Coos Bay, Oregon. And what dates is that?
It's the 21st. I got my calendar right in front of me. I never even pick up my calendar anymore.
Next month?
This month, August 21st. And I do 2 shows. It's on a Friday night. And that'll be my first time since, March, I think.
Wow.
So I got to remember my act. And a lot of people, too, on my fan page go, oh, you must have all new material. You're going to have so much new material. I'm like, well, it's kind of weird because, first of all, I have to remember my old material. That's the first thing I'm going to have to do. But normally, in the last 5 months, there's nowhere to work out new material, right? So you might be writing it, but you don't get to perform it. So I'll have new material. There's no question about it, but I'll still have to work it out and break it all in. I'm not going to have a whole new polished half hour of material. It's got to be, you got to work on it in your act and stick it in your act and try. And
you're going to be in Coos Bay. Oregon's my home state. So have you picked out your feature? It might be somebody I know.
Pat Wilson told me who it was.
Gotta be somebody good.
Oh, I don't remember.
I'm going to go with Brian Bixby would be a good choice with you.
It was a guy, and it was just his name and the first initial of his last name. Does that make like Kenny, not Kenny G, but it was something like that. Robbie R, or I don't know.
Yeah. I think there is like a Robbie something, but I don't know if that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And it's probably going to be a house host.
Yeah, I think so. And I know that Gabe Rutledge did it a couple of weeks ago, and he said we stand behind a plastic screen, and the audience is all separated, like 2 at a table, and they all have to wear masks. So I don't know how much laughter I'm going to hear if everybody's got a mask over their face. But people are spread out. You can't sell merch afterwards because they don't want you shaking hands or getting close to people. And I think the comedian brings their own microphone up. They switch, put on a new microphone between comics. But there's distance between me and the audience. But I really want to do it just to get on stage and run my act through my head, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
I totally get that. That's amazing. I can't wait to promote your show in Coos Bay at the
Thank you.
Mill Casino, August 21st, two shows, probably like 7 and 10, 7 and
Yeah.
8 there.
Yeah, yeah, there's two shows.
They'll
Probably
figure it
7 and
out.
10, 7 and 9. I don't know what they are.
Yeah. Cool. So what else do you still get out and jump the hurdles?
I do sometimes.
That's so
With
great.
all the time on my hand during this time I've been walking, mostly walking. I run a little bit, 50 miles a week.
Wow.
And I still go up and do a little bit of track work. I get on the track. I do some hurdle drills, and just to change things. I still try and do a little plyometric stuff, little bounding and hopping stuff like that. Not like I used to, but I've always coached on the side too. I've done that
Have
for
you?
years.
No
I've coached
way.
34 of the last 40 years.
Who'd you coach? What teams?
I coached high school when I was still teaching. And then for 10 years, 11 years, I coached at the University of Washington. I coached the
What?
hurdlers. And then I had a year at Seattle Pacific University. And then I've coached high school for the last 13 years. It's always when I'm in town. If I'm in town, I'm there every day. So, but they understand that if I have work, then I'm gone for a couple of days. But
Yeah,
even though I coached all those, I in March, April, May, I sometimes turn down work because I have track meets that weekend that I don't want to miss. So like in May, it's regionals and district and state. And I'm like, no, I'm not going out of town. I'm doing track that weekend. So I've turned down some pretty lucrative stuff just to go coach that weekend.
So then some of your track people probably made it into college scholarships and beyond.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them right now that run for Eastern, a couple girls over at Eastern right now. And I've had several of them go to college.
Wonderful.
And in 96, I had two girls when I was at University of Washington. I had two girls qualify for the Olympic trials.
Was one of them the last name Martinez?
No.
No? Okay. I remember one girl from UW, I thought, went to the Olympics with the Hispanic name of Martinez. And I was like, you go, girl. You show them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they went, how did they do at the Olympics, Brad?
Well, they went to the trials, went to the Olympic trials, did not make the Olympic team. So, but you know, qualifying for the Olympic trials is a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah.
That's what we're down at the U of O, right?
Yes.
How many times have you been to that event?
Oh man, the Olympic trials or just to the U of O?
U of O Olympic trials.
Just the one time. I wanted to go this year.
Yeah.
And then obviously there wasn't it. I want to see that new stadium.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. Well, there's little time left before I need to sign off. How would you like to have some time to just talk to people and tell them how to make it through a pandemic or how to not lose your mind or how to stay
Sure. We're going to have
positive?
people join us. Is that what you're saying?
You can talk like as if they're right here. Pretend you're talking to a bunch of people and just look at me like they're listening. People don't know how to act right now. People are losing their freaking mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm lucky because my wife works full time, so I'm not financially, I'm fine. You know, a lot of people, I'm not making any money, but my wife is, so I'm lucky that way.
Yes.
And I have a lot of time on my hands, so I'm really fortunate. I've been out walking, and you should take advantage of this time right now. Don't use it. I know what people are saying they're eating and gaining weight. I'm like, oh, you got to go the opposite. Got to go the opposite if you got that kind of time. And I've seen since I've been out walking, there's a lot of people out walking. I'm surprised. There's a lot of people that are exercising right now, and it's great to see.
It is.
So that's the best thing I've been doing. I've been reading a lot, exercising a lot. My yard looks great.
Do you enjoy yard work?
Hate it.
I love it.
Oh, I hate it.
Can't stand housework. I clean so I can get the hell out and go outside. I can't stand it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
my yard actually I need mow it. It rained here yesterday in Seattle. It rained all day, so I'm going to give it another day. I'll mow it tomorrow. But
What's the best thing about being in Seattle these days? Because I was there in the 80s with my daughter. What's the best thing about Seattle nowadays?
Seattle's beautiful. I mean, it really is. It's gorgeous. And this time of year, August, September I've traveled all over the country. I've been to all 50 states. Seattle in August and September is the nicest place in the country, I think. It's just beautiful. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. There's no insects around here bugging you. You know what I mean? It's really nice.
Very much so. I loved it up
And
there.
I love the COVID lack of traffic.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if somebody were planning to come to Seattle and you're not gonna, but you were gonna take them on a tour, what are 2 things you would show them in Seattle?
That's a good question.
Thank you. That's a good stall technique.
No, that's a good question. 2 things. You know what? Probably I always tell people, take the ferry across to Bremerton and then take it when you come back. You got to go out on the front of the ferry as you sail right into Seattle. That's just that view is stunning. Coming right in on the ferry, come in on the ferry. And then I think that walking around the University of Washington campus is beautiful too. The UW campus is beautiful. That's a great place to spend a day and go walk around.
That is beautiful.
And then now we have the light rail. You can get on the light rail and ride it to any one of the stops and just get off any one of the stops and go explore that neighborhood.
I'll be darned. When did they put in the light rail?
It's gone from the airport to downtown. That's been in several years. And now it goes to UW, and the next about 3 stations are going to open up. It'll go to Northgate in about a year. But you get to go through the Rainier Valley in that area, and a bunch of different neighborhoods in there that are really cool. A lot of cool places to eat, you know. It's kind of nice to just get on and go, I'm getting off at this station. I'm going to go walk around the neighborhood and explore.
Yeah. What's the name of that lake they have north of Seattle where everybody roller skates around it?
Oh, Green Lake.
Yeah.
That's a great place too. That's a good afternoon to walk around Green Lake. I know it's a thing that everybody does, but it's nice. It's a good place to go, and the neighborhood's cool.
And then Orcas Island. I know that's away from Seattle, but boy, that trip out there
the
to those
islands are phenomenal.
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't been up
heaven.
there in several years, but they're beautiful, just beautiful. And you get on the ferry, and all of a sudden you're in this rural. I mean, the ferry pulls away from the dock, and all of a sudden you're in this rural, little tiny islands, and it's really nice.
Really beautiful. Really beautiful. That's out where Carole King lives or lived.
Is that right?
Yeah, she lived out at one of those.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, for a long time, but I don't know where she lives now.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So anything else you want to say? Because I'm really good at interrupting your talk.
No, I wish I had something to plug. I mean, I wish I had some dates to plug, but there's just no dates. I think I'm going on a Armed Forces Entertainment trip. And me and Kermit Apio and Dwight Slade, and it's the very end of October, first part of November. But that's going to be depending if they'll allow us to travel. We'll fly to Egypt. I think we do a couple shows in Egypt, a couple in Qatar, a couple in United Arab Emirates, and a couple in Jordan. So I'm really looking forward to that. Plus, I'm hanging out with great guys.
Yeah, I met one of those guys. I haven't met Dwight, although he is a staple at Harvey's where I was at before I moved here. Yeah, I'd love to meet Dwight, but I hadn't met him.
Where do you live now?
Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get around.
Yeah.
I came here for a visit and I don't want to leave. These people are actually my age and they don't mind that I'm a straight woman.
Yeah.
It's much better than in Portland.
Vegas that's not a bad place to settle down.
Exactly. Yeah. So Armed Forces Entertainment Tour coming up, the Mill Casino on August 21st. And let's get out and make his dry bar comedy special even more special.
Yeah, keep sharing that around. My whole special is on, it's on Dry Bar. It's also on Amazon Prime, and it's also on YouTube. So the whole special can be watched in any of those places.
Do they go to your Brad Upton on YouTube to see it?
They could just, I think if they just put Brad Upton on YouTube, it'll take you right to that, probably right to the special.
Perfect.
Because like 3 million people have watched it in the last several months. Watched the whole special.
We got to get there. Let's see if we can get it up another million.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, let's do that. And make sure that your record sticks just like that on
Exactly.
the track.
Keep
Did
me
you
on
have
number one.
did you have a track record that still sticks to this day?
Well, the 180 lows, 180-yard low hurdles, which they don't run anymore. So my name will always be on that list.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming on,
Thanks, Glenda.
Brad.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
All right.
I'll get this posted in the pro version. It looks like a sitcom. It's got credits and music.
Okay.
And I'll get that to you by messenger in about 3 to 4 days.
All righty.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take
Bye,
care.
Brad.
Bye-bye.
Bye.